We don't worry too much about pre-season defeats, do we? There's a big signing for the title winners, a statement signing.
It doesn't feel that momentous, really.
I'm really enjoying all these people signing 28 and 29-year-olds and just going, no, he improves us right now.
Yeah.
Right now. Don't worry about sell-on fees. Don't worry about this. You know, he's going to improve us for 3 years right now.
Oliver Glasner is the second highest paid manager in the Premier League. That's why he's gone to Nottingham Forest, possibly.
Hello and welcome to the Game Football Podcast from The Times and Sunday Times. Who are the favourites for the Premier League title? As Arsenal sign a Brazil star who isn't Vinicius and Manchester City fans contemplate a life without Rodri, we wonder whether they will be the top two again. Or is this a season for an outside charge and a 3 or even 4 team title race? On today's show, we'll discuss all that, the other teams dreaming big and the latest transfer news too. I'm Tom Clarke, and joining me today we have the senior sports writer and Sunday Times columnist Alyson Rudd, the football reporter who covers clubs in the south of England with a focus on Arsenal, it's Gary Jacob, and the former Millwall, Chelsea and Marseille striker Tony Cascarino. Team, we're here again. We just can't stop chatting about football. The football's back as well, Alyson. Here we are, chatting about the Premier League, big-time Charlies, but St Mirren are flying at the top of the Scottish Premiership after 2 games. The mighty Imps have started their charge to the Carabao Cup final with a win on Saturday, beat Derby. Looking good. I'm sure you spotted that, didn't you, Alyson?
Yes, I'm very into them.
All over the early rounds of the League Cup, Alyson Rudd, but we're not going to talk about that today. We are, however, going to be having a special preview show to the Football League later in the week. My pal Gregor Robertson will be back from his long stint on the Sun Lounger to come and talk about the Football League. But we are going to talk about the Premier League today. And let's talk about the champions, Arsenal. Gary, you were there at the Emirates to watch a defeat. But we don't worry too much about pre-season defeats, do we?
Well, there's 2 defeats.
Yeah, two defeats.
But as Miko pointed out, it was 2 defeats last year as well.
Yes. Oh, so great signs.
They kind of, yes. I mean,
great signs.
Great signs. And must be the championship coming.
Let's get reactions to the Bruno signing first before we talk about the game. Sorry.
I think it's a very good signing.
Yeah.
Maybe a year or two too late for, in terms of where he is. He's going to turn 29 in November. But I think it's a very good signing in terms of their midfield. Can play as a number 6, can play as a number 8. As Mikel said yesterday, can play through the lines, and that was one of their problems last season. I think sort of playing through the lines, and he can finish. You know, he's Newcastle's creative player last season, and I think that's been some of Arsenal's problems. So I think it's a very good signing. But it feels like at the end of the Champions League final, Mikel was talking about ambition, and it felt like here and now, here is your moment, with all the other clubs in flux, a little bit, changing managers and whatever, trying to close the gap on the big European teams. This is the moment.
Do you think the Bruno signing does that? Do you think that's an ambitious signing that says 75 million?
It's definitely an upgrade in the midfield. You can't argue about that. But there's still holes in the team that we can discuss.
So then back to what you saw in these games. Then what did you make of those performances?
Probably a little bit sloppy. But they're missing the World Cup players, and you can realise the World Cup players probably knit the things together. Declan, obviously they're going to be without Saliba for a bit of a time, but even the ones who are there, and the other players coming back from the World Cup fitness. Odegaard played yesterday a little bit. He looked quite sharp. Solis on the left looks quite good, but he had an extra 2 weeks with Bruges. He started early, so he's going to look good. But he's probably different to Trossard because he's going to go outside and probably beat his man and cross it or shoot. So there's going to be a lot more of a kind of maybe directness display. I think people will be surprised about him. He's not going to be their number 1 left winger probably in time. You wouldn't have thought, but he's going to be an upgrade on what they had last season.
Can I ask you, Gary? Because of the Odegaard we saw at the World Cup, very smiley Odegaard, very
ferocious as well.
And I mean, honestly, I don't want to overstate it, but he was like it was his twin brother or something. Did you see anything that indicated he's going to carry on from the World Cup into this season domestically?
He was playing a lot of through balls yesterday when he came on. He played a lot of through balls, and I thought that was really interesting. He was the one who was actually playing those balls. So the question is he going to be the one who's going to be doing that, I guess, with someone else, or is he going to play in maybe more all action like he did at the World Cup, where he looked...
Was he smiling, though?
Was he smiling?
That's the key.
I didn't actually check, to be honest. But he looked good. He looked sharp yesterday, and there were parts last season where he didn't look sharp.
And how serious were the rumours that he might leave Arsenal? Do you think?
I think Mikel probably wouldn't take an offer on me. I think there'll be other people inside the club who would. He's got 2 years left on his contract. So would you give him a new contract? You know, if you're the club, would you want to pay him on a 5-year contract on big money when maybe in a year or two you're not sure and you phase past Odegaard? So there is a dilemma. But I think for Mikel, he wouldn't do that because he loves him.
Tony?
Me personally, I would kind of think about giving him 1 more year and then offloading.
Yeah, interesting.
I know you love him, Alyson. You're going to have to go and get nail the interview with him this season.
Yes,
exactly. It could be his last.
Exactly.
See, for me, it's an obvious one with Odegaard.
Yeah.
Blighted by injury. Over the last 2 years, you get a Odegaard that's fit week in, week out. It's a completely different.
Well, the one that
we
myself
saw in
and
the World Cup.
in the World Cup was amazing.
Tom,
amazing.
18 months ago, when I'd done a piece and when Odegaard come back from an injury at that time, and he came back and he looked like he was absolutely on his full game fitness-wise. He was literally running the show. Now, he can do that.
Yeah.
But what we've seen is a injured player so often can't get back to full fitness, then finds when he plays, the fans are a little bit, you know what it's like at the Emirates, isn't it? They're not quite sure of it. When they first got him and he was on loan and he was brilliant, it was signing.
Yeah.
So he lost his way slightly, but I think he's a hell of a player.
Just coming back to the Bruno Guimares signing then, Gary said definite upgrade. Tony, Alyson, would you be in agreement? That's a big signing for the title winners, a statement signing?
It doesn't feel that momentous, really, but I do think it's a very good fit rather than it being, you know, Galactico type stuff. It's more that I can see Guimares taking the pressure off Declan Rice. You know, there have been too many games. I mean, it seems ridiculous to criticise Arsenal at all because they did win the title, but it felt watching them. There were a lot of games where you felt the weight of responsibility on Rice's shoulders was too much. He was having to mop up at the back, go out to the wing when required, go forward when required, do all the tackling when required. He just had to do too much, and then there was that sort of slight, whenever Arsenal wobbled, you felt it was because Rice wasn't fully fit because he was just too many minutes on the pitch, probably. And I do feel Guimares, he's got that similar personality where he will go anywhere. He'll go where he needs to put out the fire. Yeah. And so that'll just help balance the midfield and possibly allow Declan Rice to be a bit more creative as well. Because it's limit to how creative you can be when you're constantly just zooming around the pitch, trying to make sure you don't fill any gaps that have arisen. Yeah.
But if you're Mikel Arteta, you would have looked at the previous seasons of coming second, and they were literally pedal down, their foot on the pedal all season to try and get over the line. They achieved that last season. So coming to this season, when you sign someone like Guimares, you're signing a tenacious player that's going to literally pressure everything. You know, he'll pressure people in his own dressing room to be in the starting lineup. Because one thing he's got now, he's got one hell of a midfield, whoever he's going to select. And it's going to lift standards around them. Because if you've got players challenging for a spot in the team, you'll be surprised training during midweek, get to a game, and when you're not in the side, why am I not in the side? Because if he's playing really well, and he's got that with all these midfielders now.
I think he's got options now.
Many of them,
But he needs a better fitness record than what he had last season. You know, he needs players to stay fit, and he banged on that about the end of the season. He needs the top players to be fit at the business end of the season, and they kind of weren't really in the last season. Timber and Saka and Rice was carrying something, and so he needs them fit. I suppose at least having better players you can, in theory, rotate. Mikel's not really been one for rotating, so we just see will he rotate? Yeah,
definitely a good sign. Always a statement signing, I think, when you sign a rival team's captain. When you sign a captain, I think it's a significant moment, isn't it?
A leader. You're signing
another leader as well in the dressing room. And I really actually enjoy, we discussed it, I think, post-World Cup with the Yuri Tielemans signing. I'm really enjoying all these people signing 28 and 29-year-olds and just going, no, he improves us right now. Right now. Don't worry about sell-on fees. Don't worry about this. You know, he's going to improve us for 3 years right now.
So how weird is that, the contradiction, right? We're in a period of the game when we're now knowing that players can be so fitter, they can keep their, you know, they eat the right things, they can play into their late 30s, and yet 29, there's clubs now, well, he's too old now. So it's only based on finance. It's not based on what they can still do. You take Fergie, he took Berbatov, 29, took Van Persie, 29. There's a few of them. Sheringham, I think, was 32 when he took Sheringham.
31, I think,
31, okay, so, you know, you get the point. The point of a 29-year-old who can still, you know, do clubs really, are they interested in year 4 of a contract?
Yeah.
When you're signing a plan, you might go Tillemans, oh, come in, 4-year deal. Are you really bothered about the 4th year?
Yeah.
It's
We'll
about...
worry about that when we get there.
Yeah.
But it's refreshing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Before we just broaden it out and bring in Manchester City and other clubs and talk about that title race question that I asked at the top. Gary, you were mentioning Solis on the left wing. Last week we talked about Vinicius. We've talked about Morgan Rogers plenty of times. Here we are, less than 2 weeks from that first game against Coventry. And as much as Guimares is a great signing, Arsenal fans will still be looking at that left wing and going, where's our world-class superstar that's going to get us past PSG?
Tom? What are you thinking, Tom?
I'm thinking, where do they go from here?
I know you're thinking a man in red.
Where are you thinking? Listen, we'll come on to whether they could make a cheeky move for Marcus Rashford on the final day of the deadline day. But have they still got ambition for a superstar signing, Gary?
They've spoken to Barcola, but I think they think he's too expensive.
Right.
Yield is at Juventus. They've been trying for.
Yeah.
After that, there are very few options. They could go back in for Nico Williams in.
What we look at Gary on that
but
one?
He's not.
The Yildiz, are we looking at 100 million?
They just.
Or is it a bit
Juventus are saying they won't sell. So
because he's a real, he's only 20,
yeah.
but
he's a young talent, isn't he?
Yeah.
It's not a ready-made.
Yeah. Well, Real Madrid have done that with Dilmadi. They've gone out and blown the.
Yeah. But that's the thing, isn't it? That's what, and you said it yourself in your answer about Guimares. Take us to the next level, go beyond.
I think Arsenal fans are a bit disappointed because it's been more than 2 years they've needed a left winger. And it kind of feels like, where is this left winger? And they're still going to be scrambling around. And you think,
Well, it was obvious where it was. It was Kvaratskhelia until he turned up last Christmas.
Yes.
And started playing brilliantly again because he was out the team at PSG.
Yeah.
And
Arsenal were all over it.
Just going back to Barcola, you don't think that's a... They don't think they'd compete with Liverpool for them?
I just think that they don't want to pay the price. If they want to pay Rodgers for that, I can't see them paying that for Barcola. So
interesting.
And
so do you think that then maybe, Alyson, to you, in their position as champions and lots of flux and change around, let's start the conversation. Are Arsenal the favourites going into this season as it stands right now?
Well, as you can probably imagine, a lot of people have been saying to me, "Go on then. What's your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for the
I'm not even asking for
league?" And I was out for dinner with a friend who's entered a charity predictions. I'm not joking. It was 8 pages of predictions.
8 pages.
Who's going to score the most goals between these two teams? Who's going to concede the most goals between these two teams and then those two teams and those two teams?
This person is cheating by getting you to fill it in for them.
Well, I did caveat it with nobody knows, but I think most people, to answer your question, I think most people would have Arsenal as favourites. And in fact, I've heard quite a lot of the pundits who do the merry-go-round on the media saying they're clear favourites for the title. I am not. I don't think they're clear favourites because I think... Is
that because of a lack of star left winger?
No, that's one factor. I don't think it's a huge factor. I think it's a factor. I think the mindset will change completely now. What it was, that there was an element of desperation which is gone. I think it's a completely different way of thinking about things when you're defending a title. And I do believe the fans... I've always found them quite intriguing, the Arsenal fans, what they demand. And, I have been there when they've left at 60 minutes. That is a ridiculous time to leave a football match because it's not going your way. Anyway, I think they will demand more attractive football. I think there will be adjustments early season. And I think they might drop a few points early on. And I think they'll finish first or second, but I wouldn't put my house on them finishing first. No, I don't think it's that clear cut.
Tone, what do you reckon? Alyson's saying favourites, but not clear favourites.
No, all the big clubs have done a lot of work and there's still more to be done. So I wouldn't say clear. I think they're one hell of a squad of players. There's no doubt about that. I mean, I know we're going to talk about Chelsea a bit later. Yeah. And I'll save my words for them because I do think they're a real threat.
Yeah. Let's bring that in a minute then. Gary, just a final thought on Arsenal then at the minute.
I mean, I think Alyson's right. They're going to have to play more attractive football than last year. And I think that's... But they've also got a tricky start. Chelsea, Sunderland, Villa in the opening 4, which is not... So that I think in the short term, while they're getting players back from the World Cup, they're going to have to grind out a few results. So I think early on you might actually see them doing what they did last season until they're kind of up and running. And they may not be up and running properly until October, November, because Saliba might not be back until... maybe November or so, maybe after. Timber, Declan, Saka. So once they may not find their groove until a little bit later.
And just to finish on the left wing point, then, you joked about it earlier. We were joking before we came on air. This idea of a move for Marcus Rashford.
It's got, I don't know. It's got shades of Raheem Sterling over it. Not in the sense that, because obviously they're completely different players. But I think Arsenal fans will think we've spent all this year's time looking for a left winger. We should be buying one we really believe in, and why haven't we scouted around rather than kind of scampering around at the end of the window? But if there are a week to go and there isn't anyone out there, you can't help but look at him and think he did well at Barcelona and he did play for England. So, and United probably have to do a deal.
Marcus Rashford will be having a big season in the Premier League. I'm convinced of it.
Yeah,
I'm very excited.
You think he's going there?
No. I think he'll come back to Manchester United and have a great season. I made this prediction a few weeks ago, and I'm sticking to it. I just don't understand it. I can't understand why things have changed. Amarim's left. Why Manchester United wouldn't find a home for him when they also need someone to play off the left, and they need to strengthen their attacking options with experience. But equally, I think if Arsenal made a move for him, what a terrific signing that would be. Champions League experience, World Cup experience, great season for Barcelona, decent World Cup, playing off that left wing, direct, quick, pacey, play off Gyökeres or Havertz. Be a fantastic thing. Wouldn't it be wonderful? Anyway, let's move on.
The psychology of Marcus Rashford is fascinating. I don't know why so many United fans aren't keen for it.
He's a very on his day cliche, but he is a very, very, very good player.
But do you think there'd be enough residual love to embrace that concept?
Yes.
But there are enough people who seem to think it's a backward step for some reason.
Just one thing that was very noticeable yesterday, Gyökeres. He was panned at times last season, and I think based on yesterday, I think he's going to be equally. Their eyes are going to be on him again. Yeah,
interesting.
Fluff's there, sort of a header, and sort of quite a few flicks didn't go his way. I think the fans got accepted by the end of the season, but I think they'll be on the case for something better this year.
Well, let's bring in the other teams then and talk about Manchester City. Discussions around whether Rodri leaves. Charlotte Dunker reporting at the end of last week about Barcelona move for him, but City holding firm for a much bigger transfer fee to even contemplate letting the World Cup winner go. Tony, you're talking about Chelsea. To broaden my question out from the very intro then, is it a two-team title race, or do we think it could be a bit more open this year with all the change, all the flux, no Pep Guardiola? Tony, I'll start with you and you can bring in Chelsea.
Yeah, I do. I think, look, Man City has still got a hell of a squad.
Yeah.
Rodri's a huge player for them, and I can't see them being able to keep him. Really can't. Whether it's Real Madrid or Barcelona, I think they'll come to an agreement somewhere along the line. There was a reason why they bought Elliot Anderson. They knew that would probably be a tough one to keep him in the summer. Chelsea, I watched both their games. Not so much the second one, the crazy one, the Gaga, the Chelsea goalkeeper Gaga. The game was Gaga, the 3-3. But that was more of a second string team. But the one that played AC Milan was really good.
Yeah.
And there was a couple of things that happened in the game. And it also happened in the other game, the 3-3. I can't remember the name of the team who they played because everyone has a different name for them.
Oh, Yoho Doral, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Well. Yeah. I couldn't remember that one.
I'm reading it to be
okay. So the Chelsea AC Milan game. And by the way, Ruben Amorim has lined up the same as he did at Man United.
It's almost like Ruben Amorim has a philosophy and people don't listen and don't believe it.
They got battered.
Yeah.
Chelsea tore them apart and they had chance after chance after chance.
So just coming back to Chelsea then, because I think it would be very easy to talk about Ruben Amorim. Again, he's back, listeners and viewers.
No, but my point, Tom, on Chelsea was that Welbeck went alongside Pedro.
Yeah.
And it really worked well for them. Now, whether he'll do that in the season, I don't know. But one thing was pretty clear for Chelsea in both games was they ain't half going to create some chances.
Yeah. Were they playing a back three because Alonso did that at Bayer, or were they playing two up top?
Well, it was a bit of a mixed bag, but I felt more of a four, if anything. Right. But what they did really well was the ball would go long quite quickly at times, and Pedro got away a couple of times in the match. But generally, crosses were coming from everywhere. Bodies in the 18-yard box. Chelsea are going to score a lot of goals this season.
Interesting.
They really are.
Do you think they're strong enough at the back?
There's loads of players still not. Yeah. It's hard because obviously they've had a number of injuries. Eva Crowell is, back from a long injury and didn't play much last season. They've brought in some experience in there as well. I think, the squad is ridiculous. The size of the squad.
Yeah,
it's 50 plus players.
46, I think it is.
Well, no, it's more. It's more, Gary.
More?
They've even got people like De Zerbi, who's at West Ham. Yeah. He's not even non-applicable. You're not
listed.
even in this.
I mean, they haven't ruled
I
out.
think it's about 54.
They
Something like
haven't
that.
ruled out not signing anyone still,
Yeah.
but they've got a lot to get out the door.
They've got ones to get out the door, but incredibly dangerous, I felt.
Interesting.
Sanchez, the keeper's an interesting one because it feels like Alonso's going to stay with him. You know, watch him last year and the year before, really. Makes loads of great saves, but will make these mind-boggling errors in a game.
I still think they've got too many players of that type.
Yeah.
I think they'll be fun.
I think they'll be dangerous.
I think they'll be fun and dangerous, but whether they've got enough for
well,
the
no
title.
football, Europeans going to be big for them.
Let's talk, but bringing back to Manchester City as well, even a team, I was looking at it earlier, even a team without Rodri, and this is on the assumption that they maybe signed Bouhaddi, the young Moroccan midfielder who they've been heavily linked with, would be potentially Donnarumma, Aït-Nouri, Diaz, Gueye, O'Reilly, Anderson, Bouhaddi, Semenyo, Cherki, Doku, Haaland.
That's pretty strong.
Yeah, it's
That's
good.
pretty good, isn't
It's
it?
a good sign, really good
It's
sign.
amazing squad of players. But with City, it's that we don't know what losing the aura of Pep Guardiola is going to do to them.
Yeah, fascinating.
And each individual player that you just listed, they all went to City for the reason of Pep Guardiola. That was at least part of their reasoning, not just they wanted to win silverware. There's a certain type of player that wants that kind of manager, the demanding genius, and they want to feel that. They want to know what that is like, how their game can be improved by having an exceptional manager in charge of them. And Maresca's a very good manager, but he hasn't got that status yet.
Not the status, but he does have the demanding quality, doesn't he, in terms of what he might bring? Everything in his short career so far suggests...
I think most managers in the Premier League are demanding. I don't think that's an exceptional quality at all. And I think he has to be careful about whether he... if you... It's always the same problem if you take over from someone who's got a legacy and an aura. Do you try and be like them? So, I'm as demanding as Pep. Well, that's not going to cut it. You've got to be yourself. You've got to somehow show that you, on your own terms, are not just a Pep disciple, which he is to a degree, but that you've got something else about you, and that all these players you've just listed, who are innately talented players and have proven it, that they're not going to suffer this dip of, oh, well, in training, Pep would do that. It's not, we're not. Or it might be they're actually quite relieved. Maybe training is slightly less onerous, or there's slightly less chat about what they could do better, because he was very, very demanding in that sense of individually telling players they could do more. And if Maresca feels like he hasn't got the charisma to do that, do they drop off because they're not being pushed as much? I think. Yes, they have an amazing squad, but I am expecting a dip in performance, just a slight dip in performance.
I think the interesting one is, losing Bernardo as well. He's a really good player for them, wasn't he?
That's another
and if you lose him and Rodri in the same one, it's kind of the leadership and the kind of know-how, and that could be just a little bit of
interesting. I'm quite excited.
I think
there might be a freshness about Maresca, and think they might.
And also, Foden could be that.
They'll probably sell Savinho and get someone else in as well, so they're going to strengthen in another way. I think they've got a strong squad,
unbelievable as well. Kusanov looked great towards the end of the season.
And he's got 6 months under his belt there now.
Yeah. And Semenyo, ready-made star players, but very interesting.
But we haven't even mentioned Haaland.
Oh, exactly. Another player who looked incredible in that.
You said about you get top goal scorer. Well, it's hard to oppose Haaland, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whatever we say.
I'm not saying City are going to be absolutely rubbish. I'm just saying I think there might be a slight drop off.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
It could go one of either way. So at the minute we're heading towards a kind of, we think Chelsea might be outsiders to a traditional top two. Are there any other teams?
I genuinely do think that about Chelsea.
Do you think they could be sneaking up as those two kind of try and manage loads of competitions?
There's something
even with
about
defence,
Alonso.
Goalkeeper.
I think they will concede goals, but I think they'll probably be winning games 3-2 quite a lot.
There's going to be a lot of that. I totally agree.
With Chelsea?
I think if you want to watch a team next year and you're going to be really entertained, I would say it'd be Chelsea.
Interesting. Gary?
I mean, it's only pre-season.
And are we stopping? Are we drawing the line there then? So we're going, actually, it is a traditional top two with Chelsea as an outsider. None of the other, Liverpool.
In my predictions, I've put Liverpool third. I think they'll have a slow start. Well, they are definitely going to have a slow start. But then they're going to get in the groove and steam up to third.
Just don't know.
We hope.
I think the goalkeeper thing is a worry for me at Chelsea, and maybe the centre backs, and they've still got the Enzo situation.
Clarke's come in for as well.
Yeah,
That's a really good
I think he's decent, but he's not.
No.
He's not Saliba level, is he? He's a good player, but he's not that. And I don't know. Still got the Enzo situation to resolve, haven't they? Which we don't know if he's going to go or not. You know, he's flirting with everyone, but is someone actually going to put the money on the table for him?
That'd be another big one as well. Really interesting reading in Paul Joyce's report from Liverpool's game, the defeat with Monaco. Andoni Iraola talking about something we have discussed on this podcast a lot, about that energy that he demands from his team. It's almost Ange Postecoglou-esque in terms of, he said, we played a good first half, especially a good 30 minutes. Right now, we probably don't have much more in terms of the levels required to play like this. And they were much better in the second half. They deserve to turn the game around. I think the ones for whom it was their first game, and even the ones who are playing their second game, they had energy. The problem right now is they don't have the energy for 90 minutes. They start to get tired and it will take time, which is, of course, is true in a World Cup year. That always takes time. Tony, you've told us all the time about the kind of difficulties of pre-season and things, but it is interesting that we're already hearing these conversations from Iraola about what I want and what I'm getting.
It's not brave of him, though.
Yeah.
Because
It's brave, but it's quite stark.
There are already a cohort of fans that are worried about this appointment. They don't like the lack of connection with Liverpool, and they don't like the leap from Bournemouth to Liverpool. They don't like it. I think the majority of fans are saying, well, come on, let's give them a chance.
Yeah.
They were a very entertaining, if not the most entertaining, Bournemouth in the league last season. But to go to it is hugely different for him. The amount of media attention on him compared to Bournemouth is, I mean, it's multiplied by thousands of percent, really. And yet he's not trying to pander to those doubts about whether Liverpool can play this high intense press and implement his methodology. He's doubling down on it, and I see what you mean by it's Ange-like in a way, but it's not.
No, I'm being mischievous and simplistic.
The system is more sensible than an Ange Postecoglou system, and when it clicks, this is the faith thing. I think when it clicks, it will be a thing of beauty and it will be successful. I'm agreeing with Andoni. Then come the game against Newcastle, their first game. I don't think Liverpool will be ready. I don't think they will be fit enough, but they will, in leaps and bounds, become fit enough. So they'll probably drop all the points they're going to drop. They're going to drop in the first month.
So we're going to have Arsenal and Liverpool bottom of the league.
Yeah, we're all. No one's ready. No one's ready. Apparently.
I'm a firm believer in the way he plays, and I think it will be great for Liverpool long term. I really do. I trust in that this guy really does know what he's doing. Yeah. Where I used to think Ange wasn't convincing. You know, so. Watching Isaac and Wirtz getting a goal, it was obvious as hell. I mean, he made loads of changes in the game, so it was obvious as hell that they weren't ready. They were undercooked for the Premier League. Yeah. But there's 2 weeks to go.
Absolutely.
So,
2 weeks.
You know, Liverpool will be, and I talked about Chelsea being a flair team. Liverpool would be very close to that.
Yeah, well, we had Paul Joyce on last week's show talking in depth about Liverpool, and I asked him a question just at the end about this season, what the expectations are. Challenge for a title or season of transition and Champions League? Just answer that question, all of you. Alyson?
Transition Champions League.
Gary?
Yeah, transition,
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Full house.
Full house. Very, very rare as well for a full house on this podcast. Well,
what do you think, Tom?
I think season of transition, I think they will be like Chelsea, fun at times, still got problems.
I thought Joyce made the point today in his piece about how the Wirtz and Isak are working a lot better together.
Absolutely. Well, that's the big thing, isn't it? They've got to get that transfers right and working well on the pitch, haven't they? As you mentioned, Gary, you can read Paul Joyce's analysis from Anfield on the Times website. Now, plenty more up there as well, including the latest from FIFA. Gianni Infantino has been accused of deception by 3 FIFA vice presidents over his World Cup sell-off plan, who are understood to have opened talks over possible rival competitions. Fascinating latest from Martin Ziegler, the man, of course, who broke the story. Get the latest on that on the Times website. Now it's time for a quick break. Last Monday, Alyson, we picked out teams who were exciting, intriguing and worrying, but how many did we leave out entirely and might therefore mention in the second half of the show? Find out in just a sec. Welcome back to the Game Football Podcast from the Times and Sunday Times. I'm Tom Clarke and I've got Gary, Jacob, Tony Cascarino and Alyson Rudd with me, and they're all very upset, listeners and viewers, because they can't read an email. Can't read emails, very upset, more rancor in the camp.
Yeah, if you send emails while we're on air, Tom, it doesn't
Well, the
count.
first email should be right.
I was in makeup when you
The
sent me
first
the
email should be correct.
Goodness me, very
Indeed,
upset.
indeed.
The answer to the part link, part quiz question was 6. The teams we did not mention at all: Crystal Palace, Everton, Hull, Ipswich, Nottingham Forest, and Tottenham. Chris, who's a long-time listener and often gets in touch with me, often with very good ideas. I think he suggested Roberto De Zerbi for the Tottenham job before they even made that appointment. Got in touch last week going, "You've not mentioned Tottenham, all those signings." And do you know what? Fair play. So let's look at those teams and put them in some categories. I'm going to bring in some other teams as well, because teams like Leeds we didn't give much of a mention to, apart from a little nudge from me right at the end. So where do we see these teams then? And let's start with Tottenham. Excited, intrigued, or worried are the kind of categories that I cheekily went for last week.
Nice.
Okay.
Where do we think? I, for one, am excited by Tottenham this season. I think they're going to be really good fun.
No, they're not. They're intriguing. They're not exciting.
They're not exciting.
They're intriguing because they've really bolstered the defence and they kept Van der Ven and they've let Paulinho go. Which is,
You're very upset about that. You do love.
why would
Paulinho.
anyone let him go?
Maybe because they
first
spent
name
about
on my team sheet.
180 million on Tonali and Fernandes. But anyway.
Well, yes, but I still think I don't see why anyone would let him go. But and I think defensively, wow, they look like they could be the strongest defence in terms of personnel in the division.
Really?
Really, really. I mean, just look at it. It's
Not stronger
amazing.
than Arsenal's.
Well, Arsenal's starting the season with injuries.
Yeah, but
and
fully fit, surely not
Yeah,
stronger
we're
than
not talking
Arsenal's.
fully fit. To start of the season, what do we think? So I think it's intriguing that they've really bolstered the defence and kept hold of the defenders that were good and look good at the World Cup. But they're not exciting yet because they're still missing those pieces up top. I don't see where the goals are going to come from.
What, even with when people are back fit? It'd be lovely to see Kulusevski back on the pitch,
when
won't
will he
it?
be back? When will he be back fit?
Kudus.
Maddison, when will
Kudus as
Maddison
well.
be fully fit?
But I think,
When will
listen,
Kudus be fully
I
fit?
think Tottenham fans would probably agree with that assertion that they do still need an attacking player, don't they? Probably a striker. Gary?
I think Tottenham fans will look at it, and it's a bit like Conte's first summer, where they were very quick out the market, in the transfer market, very quick out the traps, got the deals done, and then it kind of all ground to a halt. And I think they're at this stage now where they still need to kind of get those other ones not grind to a halt, as a forward, definitely, and a left winger.
Yeah.
And then Savinho's the one, but whether they really want to pay that type of money, and obviously they've had conversations about Gakpo, who would play more as a number 9, but
Do you
he's
think
not really a
Savigno-
forward.
Do you think Savigno's
I think
proven?
I think it's 60 million is a lot for him, given.
Oh, do you not? I think he's so exciting.
Yeah,
I think
it's a
so
lot of
fun.
money.
Flashes of it.
Yeah. But that's that's sometimes the problem at Manchester City, isn't it?
You're
You
in
only
that
get
team.
patches.
Well,
you don't get a run. Whereas
Yeah,
at Tottenham, you'd be
he had a very good
on the
first
left
season.
wing, get the ball, run, go.
He had a good first season, and last season he didn't. Pep kept it, decided to keep him when Spurs wanted him, and he had a kind of mixed bag of a season. But I agree. I think there are loads of, and they've still got to get people at the door. They've got Richarlison, they've got Spence, they've got.
You think Spence is going?
Bergvall, Possibly, not certain, but possibly Richarlison.
Cult hero of the World Cup, Jed Spence.
Bergvall.
And what about Romero? Because that's the one that people keep
Romero,
talking about.
which Atletico Madrid have got to pay the extra little bit to kind of match Inter Milan's fee to get that over the line, which you'd expect them to do. I mean, I know there's been talk about Arsenal, but as someone pointed out, there's more chance of Spurs selling a virus to Arsenal than anything really. So
that probably makes sense.
So
even with those, if those players left, Alyson, would you be as confident in their defence? Romero.
I think the other one is the goalkeeper, Klinsky. He kind of found himself back into favour, but does anyone really?
After that,
really sure about Klinsky.
No,
after what that lad went through last season, I hope he ends up in the PFA Team of the Year. Never mind whether we're sure about him or not. But so you'd put them in intrigue category.
I think they're intriguing. I think they're intriguing, exciting and intriguing. I think we'll have a double category.
Here he is.
I think we'll have two
Van der
categories.
Ven, it's looking good. I think.
Yeah.
I think it's looking really good defensively, but they're intriguing because it's kind of un-Spursy to be that well stocked in defence and to have all
And in
these
midfield.
problems.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's
in
the both.
and all these problems in attack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tony,
Well,
where do you put them? Intriguing as well.
Definitely intriguing. I mean, I think there's more to come from De Zerbi anyway. He's that type of manager. He fell out with Marseille because of what he wanted, and he's gone to Spurs, and they're giving him basically what he's gone 2 centre halves, Van Hecken, and obviously CNC was at Bournemouth. Yeah. He's gone 2 midfielders, Fernandes and Tonali. the spine of the team is being put together there. I mean, I'd be interested to see what happens with Archie Gray. It's a weird one because he's been such a good player for them, but he was left out when De Zerbi first got in the team, and his reason was can't find a position for him.
I think they could. I think it's really exciting in the same way that you're excited about Chelsea, Alyson, because I think De Zerbi, having managed in the Premier League as well, will look at all the flux that's going on.
That's the cream, Tom, though.
And going, I'm having a crack at this. I'm not saying they're going to win the title.
No.
I'm not saying they're going to challenge for the title. But if Tottenham are suddenly up there in the top 5, top 6, top 4, also same applies as Chelsea, no European football, etc.
That's the cream.
It could be good fun
for the team. I say that because Tottenham fans would be excited if people up front come in.
Yeah.
I think that would be the exciting part for them. If they suddenly realise, well, now we've got, we've made some transfers that have made us a better team. You still look at even, Porro even plays near to what he did for Spain in the World Cup, and you've got Jed Spence as well. You think there's a lot there. As if they get that centre forward position with someone that can come in and deliver for them, whoever that may be, I think that would make fans excited.
I think De Zerbi's the type of guy that you would hear in the last few weeks of his window. Like all managers drop little bombs in press conferences. But De Zerbi's the type of guy who'd be happy to drop the bomb.
Oh, he'd done it already. He said we were getting a bomber signing a couple of weeks ago, and it hasn't happened.
Which I think probably was again putting pressure on the club. So let's see if you start to see him saying things, you'll get the impression that they're maybe not getting something over the line. He's trying to push them, and that will be interesting to see, because I think, what happened at Brighton, what he said at the end, but it kind of fell apart with the things he was saying and what he wanted. It could be Conte again in time.
Yeah,
not yet.
The vibes are still high.
Not yet.
In terms of their season, then, and asking a similar question around Liverpool, what is the expectation? What is the hopefully not finish 17th again? That'd be a start.
I think you're right. Isn't it? No European football. They and Chelsea should be on the coattails of the top 4, if not challenging for the top 4, shouldn't they?
I agree, totally agree.
And they can do that, can't they? Or do we think, because what we're talking about then is we're bringing in Aston Villa, Manchester United, these teams that did finish in those positions last season.
Have European football.
But have European football.
So the big question is, what is the atmosphere going to be like for Spurs home games?
Yeah.
If they have a few stuttering results, does it become like it was last season when it was incredibly toxic and counterproductive? And I know I made myself unpopular with Spurs fans by saying they were partly responsible for them flirting with relegation, very heavily flirting with relegation. But I was there when the team needed the fans to go, give them a roar. The place can be intimidating and amazing. And yet most of the time, a visiting club would go there and think, oh, this is jolly lovely.
Yeah,
you shouldn't be going there thinking this is a treat.
Spurs opening 5 fixtures: Brentford away, home to Newcastle, away at Nottingham Forest, home to Everton, home to Aston Villa before the international break. Top of the league. I'm telling you.
They should be.
It could be top of the league.
It should be. But will those teams go there thinking, this is going to be
Brentford
nice.
away?
Then it'd be lovely.
Brentford away. Brentford away is the one.
Brentford away is the one. Yes, a very interesting start to the season then. Chris, I hope that satisfies you. Long-time listener. Chris, good chat about Tottenham. Make sure we always listen to people who get in touch, and always do. tom.clarke@thetimes.co.uk. That leaves Crystal Palace, Everton, Hull, Ipswich and Nottingham Forest. And let's start with Nottingham Forest. If I had a different category of fascinating, I think they would be in it, wouldn't they? So I think it means they're intriguing. But Oliver Glasner, Nottingham Forest.
This is all about
Evangelos Marinakis.
It's all about the manager and the owner. It's all about that. Because they have an erratic owner who will surprise everybody by sacking someone that you think is unsackable at any point. He has that form. If he falls out with them or something doesn't just sit right with him, there's no discussions. Just you're out the door. And so you kind of think, why does the manager go there? Well, Oliver Glasner is the second highest paid manager in the Premier League. That's why he's gone to Nottingham Forest. Possibly. Who am I to say?
Yeah.
It obviously helps. But also Oliver Glasner is, I believe him to be one of the Premier League's outstanding managers at the moment. What he achieved with Crystal Palace, with the resources he had there, and the history he inherited. I mean, this is a guy who broke ceilings with the club. Brought them glory in cup competitions. They hadn't seen that. It's a phenomenal thing to achieve. And I think we loved him on this podcast all the way through because, let's say the words again, Ruben and Amorim. We had a manager who was devoted to a 3 at the back system, that failed miserably, and yet Oliver Glasner, who isn't devoted to it, discovered it can work if you've got the right players, brought it in, and did extremely well with it. So, you know, just the fact that Oliver Glasner existed alongside Ruben Amorim made Amorim look even more stupid, I think. But
I need a bell for gratuitous digs at Ruben Amorim. He's at AC Milan now. He's not even here.
But it's just such fun to bring him up. So I think Glasner, if I owned Nottingham Forest,
What a thought.
I would say, wow, yeah, I like Oliver Glasner. I want him to be manager. Will the relationship work? I mean, and there's no evidence that it will.
4 managers last season. Will Oliver Glasner be at Nottingham Forest at the end of the season? That's probably the question, isn't it? I think he probably will. I think it could work really nicely. He's still got a hell of a team.
So, okay.
I am such a dreamer. You've got to when you've been this long without a holiday, Alyson. I'm still running on fumes post-World Cup. You've got to bring hype into it.
Statistically, the manager who's going to get the sack first was going to be a Nottingham Forest manager, yeah? We'll probably say that.
Yeah, well, that's how it happened last season.
I absolutely echo what Alyson said about Glasner, because I've never seen a manager do that system so well in the Premier League. And yes, he had the players to do it, but they implemented it well, and also they got goals. People like Sarr on the wing, Mateta. You know, he done it in a way that everything came together. But it's a tough gig, Nottingham Forest. They've done very little business this year so far.
Do you know what I worry about in that system if he plays that system? Morgan Gibbs-White. Because it's the same, to bring him in again, Ruben Amorim, it's the same as the Bruno Fernandes, isn't it, in that system? Morgan Gibbs-White, I don't think suits that system.
Glasner's not wedded to 3 at the back at all. In fact, he told me face to face his favourite formation is 4-4-2.
Interesting, Gary.
I think he is 3 at the back. He played it at Frankfurt and he played it at Palace. I think he's 3 at the back. Yeah.
Interesting. So does he fall?
He's not wedded to it.
So does he fall into intrigue category?
No, I think I disagree with what he said. Even if he told you that, I disagree. I think he is wedded to it because the evidence is there.
You're saying he was lying to me.
I'm saying that, yeah. No, because I think the evidence is.
I was gullible. I fell for it. Is that what you're saying, Gary?
Yeah. He wanted to look like he was a tactical flexibility.
Yeah. You've been conned, Alyson.
You were conned.
You've been conned.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a game of the action. When did it?
He played it at Frankfurt and when they went to the Europa League final. You know, he had Kostic on the left wing.
Gary, just be devil's advocate here. Week in, week out, he must have changed to a 4-4-2 at times.
He was always 3 from every time I saw him.
Every game?
And there might have been the odd game.
No, I was going to say, I was about to say, I've not seen a Palace game.
But the thing what he did is, he improved Mitchell a lot. And when they signed Munoz was perfect for that system because it was like bang, run down there, cut it back either to the other wing back who's or to someone like Eze.
So now they've lost. Okay,
and also he had like people like Eze and Sarr and these other people, you know, playing off the striker. He had the right striker for it as well. So he had all the little pieces that worked for his system.
I mean,
the question is whether he's got the same at Forest. Diamonde's coming in, is who he wanted at Palace, sporting defender. So he'll be like one of the 3.
Well, the one that interests me, you've lost Elliot Anderson, and replacing that player is going to be very hard because he was the heartbeat of Nottingham Forest last year. I don't think they survived without Elliot Anderson last year. So it's going to be a tough gig for him.
You don't think it's as straightforward as, you know,
no, I don't.
European football?
You're losing the best player that they had. It was very important. It was vital in lots of different. His ball-winning ability. He gets in the England squad. What he done last year with Forest and with the under-21s. So it's a big player to lose.
So they're worrying for you then, actually, Nottingham Forest.
I'd be. Well, look, they haven't got to the window and finished the window, but they've done very little business.
Yeah.
You know, Tom, you have to. Their success was buying players, and sometimes it was rash. I just felt like it was scattergun approach. But when they bought loads of players, they always had lots of choice. At the moment, I'm not so convinced of what they're going to do about the Elliot Anderson position because you had Walton at Crystal Palace who did that, not quite as well by Anderson, but was still a really good player.
Well, he bought Schlager, who he knows, and he's going to bring Diamonde, the defender. And I imagine he'll just get the other little bits after that. But
That's a big ask to fill that role. It's a big ask.
Gary, where would you put them? Worrying or intriguing?
No, I think they'd be intriguing, but you know what you're going to get with Glasner. I think he's not going to be anything other than that is his system.
This is the actual big debate. I need to make sure, don't I, that for the planning, and after about 2 weeks, you two need to be back on. And I need to send you both to a Crystal Palace game so you can be like, ha, told you, 4-2-3-1.
I'm not predicting how he'll line up.
No, you're in
What I'm saying is, it's not his persona. That doesn't define him the way it defined Ruben Amorim.
You've picked your camps now. You're Oliver,
So
Mr. Flexible, and Gary is 3-4-3.
It would be funny if he played a completely different option system to both of them.
Yeah, that would be really fun.
You mentioned Morgan Gibbs-White.
Yeah.
Where do you think he can play in that system?
That's what I worry about.
Yeah, but
it's the same point. Is that when I watched them and loved watching them, he was kind of in front of Elliot Anderson. He was Anderson's ball the whole time, through the lines, break the lines, and everything was built around him. If it is a 3-4-3 system, you lose that player, don't you? Because you start, whether you have him as one of those wide forwards drifting in,
but could he not play
as effective.
Could he not play as one of the two behind the striker?
I don't know whether that's as effective, though, as building it around him in a kind of traditional number 10 role. Anyway, love watching Morgan Gibbs-White play. I'm sure he will make a success of it. Anyway, let's talk about Oliver Glasner's old team, Crystal Palace. European football, again, for Crystal Palace, but a new manager. And again, maybe business not been as exciting as they hoped. Lost an awful lot of players from where they were at the start of last season. I think I'm maybe in the worried category a little bit. Maybe a little.
I mean, they seem to go through these periods of being redundant as a football club in buying players. Is Benteke still their highest transfer? Christian Benteke?
Potentially
going
better than me.
Brennan Johnson.
Oh, Johnson, just. So that's what, 35 million, was it?
Brennan Johnson, who's now...
Brennan Johnson, who's now...
About to leave.
About to leave,
I think it's Strand Larsen as well. Strand Larsen as well was a big signing. But, I mean, Brennan Johnson, who's now looked to be on a swap deal for Dwight McNeil. I mean, probably goes down as one of the worst transfers in Premier League history, doesn't it? Brennan Johnson to Crystal Palace. But anyway, coming back to Palace and the team and the squad, it doesn't... I wouldn't be filled with confidence, would you? Despite the fun of the Europa League trips? Alyson, Gary?
Well, I am worried, but I think I'm worried mainly because it's the post-Glasner era. They overachieved so widely. It's hard to see how it won't feel a bit of a damp squib now. But that might be to do a disservice to Pierre Sage. But I don't know enough about his comparative abilities to Glasner.
Gary?
You can't rest as many players in Europa League as you can in the Conference League. I think that's going to be one thing so they're going to need a deeper squad. But like Tom mentioned in the transfer window, they tend to always deal late. They kind of slightly irritate. They irritated Pulis, they irritated Glasner by dealing late, but that's how they do it. So I suspect there's still going to be a flurry of deals. They need to kind of get us another centre back in. They probably need a couple of other players as well, just for the depth, really. Another midfield player. At least they've helped Wharton. Looks like Wharton's definitely not going to go for another year, so they've held on to him.
That's a huge...
but I think it's probably a bit. You also worried with them because you can't see them going down, but they may not be quite what they were last season.
That's worried, Gary. They're the only categories you've got. You can't make up your own, I'm afraid.
I'm half worried, half intrigued.
Excellent, fulfilling the Gregor Robertson role of sitting firmly on the fence. Let's mention Everton there. I was talking about Dwight McNeil and that swap deal. Everton and David Moyes. I'm a little worried about them as well. I'm not sure the signings have been particularly exciting. That first season in that beautiful new stadium, David Moyes, I just wonder whether in the modern football terms, I love David Moyes as a manager. I think he's been fantastic in the Premier League for so long. I think he and Everton just fit. It'd be great to see someone like Jack Grealish go back there and give everyone a lift. But I just wonder with certain areas of their fan base, whether in this modern world of where they see so much change all around them, new managers coming in, whether poor old David Moyes will be seen as, a bit fed up with David Moyes. We've had him loads. Time for a change. Time to freshen it up. What do we think about Everton? Tone?
Love the Hayden Hackney signing.
Yes.
Absolutely the best player in the Championship last year.
He was, but
he was injured.
But it's a big if, though, I think.
Yeah,
it's a big
he's a good footballer. He's a really good footballer.
Absolutely brilliant footballer.
I like him.
So's Tyler Dibbling, and he joined Everton last season and has done absolutely nothing.
Yeah. I would say this is a much more experienced player, Hayden Hackney. Even though he's a young man, he's a much more experienced midfielder. He wants to get on the ball. He's quite creative. So I do feel that's a good signing. Norgard, the experience coming in. The boy from Chelsea, George.
Tyreek George,
Tyreek George. Don't know enough about him, but they really struggled with the two boys up last season, with getting goals. So it's not exciting, but I do always believe David Moyes knows how to navigate his way along the season.
Yeah.
And they might get a big one. They might do one big transfer. But Dwight McNeil, where they do a swap, not so sure how that would work out.
I
Now,
mean,
Brennan Johnson's gone from, obviously from Tottenham to Palace and not got going.
Yeah.
Can David Moyes get a tune out of him?
Thoughts, Gary, Alyson?
I think Johnson's got 18 goals a couple of years ago for Spurs, but he's very much about, I won't say a goal hanger, but he's a guy
He arrives in the box late, doesn't he? Yeah,
he doesn't do the other parts of the game particularly well. I don't know how that's going to work with David Moyes, who expects the other parts of the game, but obviously he obviously thinks he can get that out of him. I think they're a bit sort of, there's definitely part of the fan base who think, time for a change. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why as well. Although he was interested in Bowen, I think going back to West Ham for players would perhaps not go down so well with the fan base there. So I'd say slightly worrying.
Slightly worried.
I just saw the lad Roll, who's their record signing from Freiburg, who played quite a lot last year while he was on loan. He's interesting. He's so quick. He's devastatingly quick. And I wouldn't be surprised if he kicked on at Everton this year.
Interesting.
And the Everton fans I know are like you were hinting at, Tom. They want to change.
Really?
They're a bit jealous.
Just because.
Well, David Moyes is the oldest manager in the Premier League, and there are two ways of looking at it. One is that he knows the club really well. He brings stability and know-how. But the fans, they had the new stadium, and that was all very exciting. And it feels like that sort of fizzled out now. The excitement over that, they're used to it now, and they'd quite like something a bit more stardusty.
Yeah.
Even though, be careful what you wish for.
Absolutely.
As West Ham found.
Yeah, absolutely. And Paul Joyce on that show I mentioned last week, he's our Merseyside man, talking about how it was really close and they just missed the momentum that they had to get into Europe, and what a big difference that would have made to their transfer dealings this summer.
They might lose Endai.
And their enthusiasm,
might lose.
Iliman Ndiaye, that would be a big loss. Let's finish with the two promoted sides that we didn't mention. Lots of love and intrigue and worry as well for Coventry City on last week's show, but not a single mention for Hull or Ipswich. What do we think? I'm very excited about Hull, mainly because their manager, Sergei Yakirovich, he's got great chat. He's got great chat, and anyone who listens to this show regularly will know that in my role as sports editor, that's what it's all about, great chat. Say what you want about Ruben Amorim, bang, another mention for him. He had great chat, terrible tactics, great chat.
Amazing story. I think everybody should be intrigued by it. I am actually worried about them, but they should be.
You're all three.
They are intriguing.
Worried, intrigued, and excited about Hull City.
I am all three about them because they've already defied logic in that when your big chat man came along, his remit was to save them from relegation from the Championship.
Yeah.
How on earth do you go from that being your raison d'etre to getting to being promoted to the Premier League? And I think from memory they had the fourth worst goals conceded record.
Yes, it was often very tight games. Yeah.
Wow, how do you do that? And so it felt like the football gods were sort of playing a little game, and they said, "I know, we'll make sure Southampton don't make the playoff final, and then Middlesbrough do, and that means Middlesbrough never win at Wembley, and that means Hull, even though they've got this ridiculous comparative record and scraped into the playoffs, they will get into the Premier League." That is fascinating in itself, but is it enough to keep you in the Premier League?
Interestingly, apparently, according to our producer, Hull should have been relegated based on expected goals last season. And in an expected goals table, they would have been relegated. And as you mentioned, Alyson, that was one of the great bits of chat that he gave in their promotion party when he said, "I came here to keep you in the Championship. I failed. I'm sorry, Hull fans. I failed." Hope he keeps that enthusiasm going with Ollie McBurney putting noses out of joint up front, running around, terrorising defences.
But is Ollie McBurney their main hope again?
Who cares? Who cares? It'll be
There's
great
a couple
fun.
of things on Hull. I mean, I watched them I did the game against Millwall, both games. I didn't concede a goal in the playoffs.
No.
Home and away against Millwall.
But that was a very different tactic. He got to the playoffs and went,
switched it to a back five, really, and did it brilliantly well. I mean, it's interesting this year. Their record signing is a goalkeeper, and he's also brought in Jack Butland. I don't know if he realises, but he can't play two goalkeepers in a game at the same time. It's going to be a challenge for him. It really is. But an exciting one.
But I think they'll relish it. I
think
absolutely. They've got that.
That's got to be their momentum.
They've got that thing coming up of where they weren't expected to. They're the surprise candidate, they're the wild card.
They're Luton from a few years ago, aren't they?
Yeah, they've got nothing to lose. And I think, therefore, it's exciting. And my mother-in-law is a Hull fan, so I have to put them in that category. Ipswich, Gary O'Neill. I'm a bit worried about Gary O'Neill.
Yeah.
I think this might be this will either be the beginning of Gary O'Neill in the Premier League, chapter 2, or this will be his last job in the Premier League, I think. And I wonder whether it might be the last one. Thoughts?
He's quite a confident boy.
He is, absolutely. Absolutely. And
Is he a boy now?
That confidence might go a long way.
Quite a confident man. And that confidence might go away, but I think they're going to struggle.
Mm.
Yeah.
They've made signings. You know, Issa Diop in centre defence is a good signing, a decent
Sasha
Premier League signing.
Lukic.
Sasha
I mean,
Lukic.
these are
signing.
Good
these are
signing.
players who played in the Premier League before, but maybe weren't, you know.
I think Lukic
Sure.
is a good player, actually. I think that's
Yeah.
for a promoted club, I think that is a decent signing.
Okay.
We're going intrigue then, Alison. We're
We're
going
gonna
intrigue.
disagree, you
No,
know.
I'm worried about them. But
worried.
You've got to be worried about them.
I think Diop and Lukic are good signings.
Yeah. Maeda as well. I think that's a
Yeah.
good signing.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
very exciting signing. But again, it's the... Gary's not
Yeah,
happy.
I'm not really having any of it, no.
It's funny, Alison, isn't it? Everyone who sits in that seat, it's sometimes Tom Ulnut, they always look at me as such a disparaging, like, oh, bless Tom, you haven't got a bloody clue, have you? Honestly, dearie me. Interesting, though. Lovely kit, though, Ipswich Town, I've got to say. At least they've got that
Yeah.
going for them. We'll leave it there. I think we've done it. We've wrapped up everyone. I'm sure I've probably not mentioned a team. Go on.
Is there a team we haven't mentioned?
I think I technically gave a quick mention to teams like Sunderland and Leeds last week. But listen, very quickly, Sunderland and Leeds, intrigue, exciting, worried. Tony, Sunderland.
I wouldn't say exciting.
Intrigued?
Yeah.
Intrigued.
European football,
Yeah.
great.
Intrigued?
Yeah.
I think Leeds will do really well.
Leeds will do really well. Sunderland.
They underperform to their stats.
Yeah.
So I think they've got
If
room to
Leeds-
grow into being a better team.
If Leeds are spending 120 grand a week on Harry Wilson, they're also improving other contracts,
Good sign.
they're putting monies down, aren't
Yeah.
they? So
Yeah.
I think they are sort of going to be interesting this season.
Yeah, I like the setup of Leeds. I think big physically, also technically, and goals.
Yeah.
And also they've got the bucket now of Bielsa in the stadium.
Yeah.
The statue of the bucket. Yeah, the Leeds United.
That's definitely the key thing that will see them over the line.
That'll see them over the line.
Not James Trafford or Harry Wilson or any of the other
A
signings.
bucket.
And Sunderland as well. European football at the Stadium of Light. Cliches galore. We're going to love it, aren't we?
I think they'll do well in Europe.
Yeah, could be really fun. Regis Lebris and the boys. We'll leave it there, though.
What's your prediction, Tom?
For what?
Up and top.
Life, football, Premier
Who's
League.
going down, Tom?
Who's going down? Oh, none of them. None of them. No bad vibes on this show. We've got a full... We've got a
Oh,
full...
you're going American, are you? No
we've got-
relegation.
we've got a
Oh,
full-
this is Gregor all
We've got
over.
a full
This is
Premier League
Gregor.
preview show. No, I think Ipswich might struggle and I think Hull might struggle as well. Coventry will give it a good go, but I think we might be in a more traditional territory
Yeah.
this season. But we'll see, because we've got a full Premier League preview show to come and a big Football League preview show as well later in the week. But for now, Tony Cascarino, Gary Jacob and Alyson Rudd, thank you very much for joining me. Thank you too for listening. We'll see you soon.